Well, aloha kakahiaka. Hello, everyone. Good morning. That's what aloha kakahiaka means. It means good morning in Hawaiian. Today is September 30th, 2022, and you have joined us live on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome, everyone. Let me bring in my friends over here. We've got, I don't know if I need to unmute you guys or not. Yeah, I muted you guys before we started, but see, okay, you can unmute yourself. All right, so we got, let's see here. We got my friends. There we go. We got Scott Startsman, who is joining us from Oahu, and we got Dylan Nonaka, who is back. Welcome back, Dylan, who's from the Big Island. Why don't we kind of give a welcome to Dylan? We're doing a mic check. This is like the first 5 minutes. We're warming up. We got Jim over here, who's joined us first man in line, followed closely by Joan. Another glorious day in paradise. Indeed, it is. It's a beautiful day today. And Joyce, Auntie Joyce, is with us. Happy Aloha Friday, Auntie Joyce. Great to see you. Kelly and Joan are both alumni of the Islander Ohana. Great to have you guys with us. Tracy, join. Tracy, Tracy. I got your question. You gave us the question of the day today. So Tracy, thanks for joining us. Pat is with us. Patrick, hey, from Raleigh, North Carolina, dude. God bless. I hope all is safe. And boy, the fact that you're joining us when you're in the middle of a hurricane, that you get some kind of an award for that, dude. You get an award for that. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Okay. Yes, Auntie Joyce. Excluding myself, sexy, handsome men. Yes, thank you. Absolutely. And Tracy, you got it. So Dylan, let's warm up these microphones. Dylan, what's going on, buddy? Welcome back.
Hey, it's good to be back. Yeah, I had a couple of weeks of had a trip and then some army training to do, so I'm past that. But yeah, I missed you guys, and super stoked to be back. We're just another beautiful day over here in Kona. We're gearing up for the Ironman next week, and so there's people in speedos all over town, all over the roads, everywhere, and it's going to be a little bit different this year. They're actually doing it on two separate days. It's going to be Thursday and Saturday. They're doing women on Thursday and then men on Saturday. So it's going to be kind of a longer event and more. It's just good to have town full again, and seeing lots of people, and that's something that we've missed the last couple of years.
Yes, and men in speedos. That'd be something that I'd be looking forward to myself. Just kidding. Barbara is back with. Hey, Barbara, welcome back. Aloha. We'll be visiting Oahu soon. Only wish you're moving it. That's up to you, Barbara. That's up to you. Scott, give us the mic check. How are things over there? What's going on? What's the shirt? What's the background? What's happening?
Lots going on. It's actually a great day. I don't know what's going on with the fashion now, but I noticed the board shorts are even being made much shorter. They're not Speedo style, but they're getting a lot shorter. And that is not, I wear mine. I wear the longer ones, but I did my best triathlon impersonation this morning by getting out and doing a swim. And I got to give a shout out to Patrick and Christy. They brought me this coffee mug and some really good goodies from Germany, all the way to Germany. So we finally got to meet. We closed on that property they bought probably about 2 months ago. And so they're
Awesome.
over here and we finally got to meet. So got to spend a little time with them. That was nice.
Congratulate. How cool is that? Congratulations. It's kind of the culmination of their dreams and all the work that they were doing. Great. I hope he joins us today. Want to kind of celebrate that. And well, he's probably now that they're in Hawaii, it's not that early, but hopefully they're sleeping in on a Friday. Nothing better than staying in, nothing better than being in bed still at 9 a.m. That's for damn sure. Hey, Judy, welcome back. Judy is also an alumni of the Islander Ohana. Aloha Friday. Welcome back, Judy. Great. I'm so glad that you are with us, as is everyone else. Let's see the Heidi. Okay, so Heidi is gang. In case you're wondering where Heidi is, she's got some technical issues that she's working through. I didn't have enough chance to kind of put my geek on to help her out, but hopefully she'll be able to join us. She's having some technical difficulties with her equipment, and I'm not sure what's going on. So hopefully she will be joining us. All right, look, gang, it's just about that time. Why don't we let's get the ball rolling over here and get started. I got some fun things. Okay, so first, everyone. All right, so the first folks that are here you're gonna have a chance to test out my my new feature. So here's what we're gonna do. So y'all inspired me at our last exciting episode 2 weeks ago. We fell onto something by accident, but now we're going to do it on purpose. So I got something planned for you. So the plan is called Kanakapila. Kanakapila is a figure of speech in Hawaiian, which basically means a jam session. So if people are getting together, Dylan and Scott know this. If people are getting together right for a party, when you get together, if you're going to have a dinner and whatever, at some point in the evening, everybody kind of pulls out the ukuleles and whatever, and everyone starts kind of jamming, right? They start jamming with songs and whatever. That's called Kanakapila. And so we're going to start doing what depends if you folks like this or not. We're going to do a Kanakapila feature of the show, which at the beginning is going to be a chance to kind of play some Hawaiian music. So here's how this is going to work. Get your Siri ready, get your Alexa ready, or get your Google ready, because I'm going to play some I'm going to turn this thing on to play some music for you, and we're going to kind of pick different music each week. All right. So get that all ready. So here we go. So Alexa, play music from the band Pure Heart. Okay. And now we're going to get you Apple folks is, hey Siri, play music from the band Pure Heart. And then finally for all you Google folks, okay Google, play music from the band Pure Heart. All right, and so let me know how all that goes. It is Pure Heart is, to give you some quick background here. Pure Heart is one of my favorite local bands. Just great music. A lot of Jake Shimabukuro started there, who's now become sort of a virtuoso with the ukulele. That's kind of where he got his start. Great band, great lyrics. Let me know what you think about. Let me know if it's working. Let me know if it's working, and let me know what you think about the band. And then Dylan and Scott. I'm kind of thinking over the weeks, like I want to get your guys' input. Who's your favorites? Let's kind of pop it in there and kind of see if it works. We'll kind of make this a regular feature. So there we go. Okay, see, it's working. So Kinaya, Alexa's playing Barracuda by heart. Man, enjoy it. They're such a cool band. Kelly's got it. All right, excellent. All right, this is a built-in new feature, man. We're gonna start. We're going to start playing. This is Kanakapila, right? You get to listen to Hawaiian music while you got it. See, Judy's got it going too. Excellent. Exactly. I can't let me get so you can see my both thumbs up. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished is what I wanted. All right. Let's get some news going on over here. And thank you all for helping. You all inspired me actually to get that new feature going. So I really, if it wasn't for you, folks, I wouldn't have thought about that. So, okay. Let's get some news here today. So first of all, do you have like certain signs of the apocalypse? Like, it's joking, of course, right? So like if I go into, like one time I went to Costco and they didn't have Greek Kalamata olives for like the first time ever. And I thought, oh my God, this is a sign of the apocalypse. So surely there was this tongue-in-cheek joke, but there was a breakdown of the cream custard filling machine for Leonard's malasadas, and I took that as a sign of the apocalypse. This is clearly an indication of the end of the world. Leonard's malasadas won't have custard fillings in their malasadas. What will we do now? And in fact, they actually said it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks to arrive. So it made a couple of headlines, and I thought to myself, yes, a sign of the apocalypse. We're going to kind of go over the things there for Heidi, the Maui. Heidi, we miss you. You are here with us in spirit. Maui whale season has started, and the Maui median prices dipped under $1 million, which is kind of a big deal in a way, I suppose. I mean, I'd like to get Heidi's realistic. I'm just the layperson here that's looking at this. We were at, I think, we're at 1.2, I think, for the median. Now it dipped under 1. So coastline retreats. So there's an interesting story about the coastline. Let me kind of dig this one up here to kind of share it with you. So looks like there's a fair amount of sort of controversy going on right now, and on Oahu's North Shore, there's a bunch of homes that basically they're losing their front yards, and in some ways the homes are gonna I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but they and so what's going on is, like, there was a story a couple of months ago. I don't know if y'all recall this, about a home that literally fell in the water because all the land had eroded in front of it. This is now happening to a lot of other places where the land's eroding. They're trying to figure out what to do with it, and it's against the law for you to put anything up that blocks that process. In other words, you can't put sandbags up, you can't put rocks up, you can't do stuff that blocks that natural process. And so they're running into some controversies and some problems. And there's apparently a new law that says the setback has to be back even further. So there's going to be a mess over here. And I'm kind of curious what, Scott, when we go around. I'd like to hear what your take is on this. And then finally, this is again, Heidi, we're missing you because I had all these kind of Heidi topics here today. But anyway, you'll be back, I'm sure. Coffee prices apparently on the Big Island, man. Their yield is down by something like 30 to 40% less yield of coffee. So in that can mean only one thing, is that coffee prices are going to be going up. So that's the quick roundup of the news that I want to share with you all. So why don't we do this?
Why do you think that is? Why do you think the yield is lower for coffee? Does anybody have any guesses on that?
Oh, okay. All right. Here. Okay. Thanks, Dylan. Impromptu. Everybody. What's the cause? What's the underlying cause of the yield? What's the underlying cause, everyone, of the lower coffee bean yield? What is it? Take a guess. Throw it in the comments. I want to hear about it. And Dylan, right before we go to you, is Jen. Jen today is my move day to the Big Island, sitting at Seattle, waiting to take off. Wow, how cool is that? How cool is that? Keep us posted, Jen. That's totally awesome. Andre's got a congressional matter over there. We'll kind of see how that works. Okay, so I see Scott using the mug. There he is. Yes, that's it. Scott is using the mug. And are you in the condo right now? This is so cool. We're so glad that you guys are here attending. You made it. You did it. You guys did it. You guys totally did it. So Dylan, why don't you give us some of the some news on the Big Island and hold off on your answer, because I want to get everyone's kind of feedback and we'll kind of see where it all goes. What's the cause of the drop in 30 to 40% for coffee beans on the Big Island? Dylan, give us let's see. I gotta wait. I did this work for a slide. I need to kind of show the darn slide. So market update. Give us a market update, Dylan. Give us a what's going on the Big Island. What's happening in the market? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, well, things have slowed significantly, right? I mean, that's definitely across the board, pretty much everywhere. But you really got to dig into the data and look at what it's doing to really take out some nuggets on what the implications are and what you should be concerned about. Because realistically, what's happening, the short story is we're going back to pre-COVID levels of sales. So I don't think the sky is falling. This is a correction that needed to happen. We used to sell about 5,000 properties a year on the Big Island in 21 in the COVID years, kind of 20 to early 22, we were doing about 7,000 a year. So I mean, a ridiculous increase in the number of properties that we're selling. So that's pretty much what's happening. That's what I'm telling everybody, is we're just going back to where everything was in 2018, 2019, which was a totally cool, great market. It wasn't fiery red hot, but it was a totally normal market. Plenty of transactions happened. So we don't have that much to worry about. But even though we're still way off from where we used to be, right? So like right now, if you look at some perspective, if we look at a year ago, there was like under 1,500 properties on the market on the Big Island. Today there's about 2,000. So there's a pretty good increase in the number of properties. But normally there's between 3,000 and 3,500. So we're still in a very low inventory market if you look at historical averages. And if you look at months of inventory, which is kind of the way you calculate, if it's a seller's or buyer's market, we're still at like 3.5 months of inventory. And until you get above 6 months, it's still a seller's market. So still a good time to sell. Probably no better time in the last 24 months to buy, because there's a little bit more inventory. There's way less competition. Everybody's freaking out. So they're putting their head in the sand. And you have some choices and you have some ability to negotiate. The days of paying over list price and giving away all your rights are over if you're a buyer. So I wouldn't sit it out.
Was the days of pain? Is that what you said? The days of pain are over?
Oh, the days of pain over list price.
Oh, so my ears heard days of pain, PAIN.
No,
it was pain for buyers.
Yes.
That's what I thought. I thought it was a little bit painful side.
And just a funny takeaway is I have agents coming to me and asking, these are like newer agents that have just maybe 2 or 3 years in the business. They're like, hey, I have a listing that's going to expire. What do I do? They've never had a listing expire before. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. We gotta deal with that. We can extend it, we can cancel it. So it's just funny perspective on the cycles. So
So okay, so I'm hearing that we're kind of slowly returning back to what it was. We're actually not quite even there yet, and
Way,
I
way,
think the
way
more
off. I mean,
way off.
we're still at 60% normal inventory levels. So we're
Okay,
not at less than 50 like we were for a while, but we're still at like 60%.
okay, so so therefore it would be a good time to sell. It would be a seller's market because the market is still relatively speaking tight compared to what it normally is. And what I didn't hear, what I did not hear, is that there have been like significant price drops. I'm not hearing
Price,
that.
yeah. Scott can speak to Oahu. Prices are up. Median prices are up from a year ago, 4 or 5%. So it's still we're still up on median price. The median price actually went down a little bit if you look at the last couple months. So there might have been a little spike and things are tapering off. But in terms of if you look over year growth, we're still on average above median price from last year. And I don't see that
Got it.
changing. Really, when you talk about selling, the big thing sellers got to understand in this market is the market has changed. If you price your property properly, you're still going to get an offer on the first day or potentially multiple offers. If you're trying to price it 5 or 10% above where it should be, that properties are sitting, and then you're seeing the prices come down back to where they should be before they sell.
So and so basically your original advice way back that you gave, which is price it correctly, price it market, and price it correctly and let the market fine tune it, as opposed to come up with some kind of crazy price, a crazy high price, and hope that you'll get it.
Yeah,
That kind of still seems to apply. Great.
absolutely.
Hey, excellent. Hey, before we get to Scott, I just want to kind of play everybody's guesses so that we can kind of get the ball rolling over here. So Kinaya says shortage of workers. Auntie Joyce says leaf rust. It's ruining our crop. Kelly says drought and not enough workers. Jones says drought. So that's kind of what the running thing over there. So that's what's kind of happening. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to TB. TB says, Aloha Hawaii Real Estate Gang, mahalo team Nonaka, Dylan, Andrew, and the rest of the team are on top of it, under contract and moving along. Excellent. Well done. Happy to hear about that, TB. Great to know. And Jen says virus. Okay, Jen says virus. So as she's waiting at Seattle to board the airplane, man, Jen, congratulations again on your move. There's nothing better, and Patrick and them have it too. There's nothing better than the one-way ticket, man. Buying the one-way ticket to Hawaii. That is like the best. All right. Scott, give us the update. What's going on with Oahu and news, updates, market, etc. What you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, Dylan's talked quite a bit about it. I mean, the news to me is the Federal Reserve announcing that they're going to get really aggressive with inflation, and interest rates jumped up. For one day, they jumped up above 7%, which is the highest rate in the past 20 years. The historic average is between 7 and 8%. So, that's going to continue as interest rates go up. That's going to continue to eat into affordability. That's going to remove buyers from the buying equation. People are either going to have to either stay in place or rent. And the worse the interest rates go up, the more they go up, the less sellers who have a 2.5 to 3% interest rate are going to move. And I did the calculation on this. And, in January of this year, we were right around 3%. At the end of last year, we were like 2.75% on the interest rate. If you took the difference between 2.75% on $1 million mortgage, and then you calculated it at 6.75%, which is where rates are right now, it's a difference per month of $2,400. So interest rates are going to have a big impact on what's going on moving forward. But as Dylan said, we're severely restricted on the inventory, and you're going to, the worse rates get, the more people are going to sit in place. I talked to an escrow officer the other day. I said, hey, what are you seeing? He said, 80% of my files are cash buyers. And the reason being is because the people with cash are trying to put their money in a place to hedge against inflation, which real estate is one of those, and Hawaii is a great place to buy. So we're seeing still having sales go on, and we're so restricted here on Oahu that 50% of our homes are still being bid up over the asking price. So there's competition, and the average list to sales price ratio is 100% right now for sellers. So they're on average getting what they're asking for. So buyers, you may see a lot of news in the marketplace that's negative. And yes, we're decelerating. I'd call us in a real estate recession, but it's going to be, like Dylan said, a correction, not a crash. And, Yeah. I mean, aside from that, it's sellers have to be, they got to be more realistic. You're having to do repairs. You're having to stage your home. You're having to get it prepped and properly price it, and you'll get competition, and you'll get a good price point. It's the dogs that aren't moving. It's the problematic properties that will sit and be negotiated on. I call the cupcake properties. Those are the ones that everybody likes. Everybody loves a cupcake that looks nice. It's refreshed. It's new looking. Those will fly off the shelf pretty quick.
So just like they used to, right? Isn't that I mean, it's always the case, right? The cupcakes don't, the dogs don't, right? I mean, it's always the case.
Yeah, even in 2008, 2009, when I would see, and that was a really bad market, right? And I would see some of these properties that had like unique features or unique lot position with unique view channels, things like that. They'd go immediately, even in that marketplace, because those properties aren't readily available and people were willing to pay for them, and they come with demand. It's the ones that have issues, that have challenges that people can't work around and get around, or they limit the upward potential for value that they sit.
Yeah, interesting. So okay. So thanks for bringing all this stuff up, you guys, and especially Scott. That's I didn't, I mean, you got to do the math, but what you say?
Yeah.
It's basically on $1 million, just an extra 2,400 a month. Right?
2 weeks ago, we were at 6%. The difference between 6 and 7 is it's over $600 a month in a mortgage payment. That's significant. That eats into affordability. And here's the interesting thing. So everyone that wants to wait till the rates get to the top and think the prices are going to pull back the same, there's market research out there that says for every 1% that the interest rate goes up, properties pull back 4 to 6%. Now, the problem with that is a 1% increase in the mortgage is actually the equivalent of 11% price increase. So if you're waiting for interest rates to get to the top, your mortgage payment, and you're getting a mortgage, your mortgage payment is going to be more tomorrow than it is today.
Well, I mean, that speaks to the whole idea, which is a big sort of a no-no in the stock market, or investments, not the stock market, but if you're kind of a long-term investor trying to time the market, right? You can't, market timing never works. Now, maybe if you're kind of a real estate speculator and, you're not watching, if you're a real estate speculator, you're not watching this program because we're not about speculators. But for the long term,
you hit the nail on the head. Like all the projections that we're looking for acquisitions are 5 to 10 years, hold time frame. 10 years is what I'm running on right now, is that, hey, we're setting us up for a 10-year hold. If you're a flipper, you shouldn't be buying now. If you're in the short 1 to 2 year, 3 year time frame, you better be really careful because there's too much risk in the marketplace. It will correct itself and it will get into an upward projection, but you need to be you need to have the mindset of more of a long-term hold. Otherwise, you got to be careful.
I mean, here's the funny part, and I hate to say it because it's such a common term, but the best time to buy is right now, and that's always the case, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, let me get a better shot over here. Look, at the end of the day, it seems to me that you're unless, again, if you're an institutional investor, or if you're fix and flip or whatever, you're not watching this program. You're not watching this program because this is not what we're talking to, right? We're talking to people that want to, to Dylan's words, and want to live the dream in Hawaii. What's it all about? What's kind of going with the market? And the simple truth of the matter is, if you're planning on living and if you could do it, do it. I think Heidi had a great line. So, the best time to buy is when you can afford it and you need to, or something really, really basic or slightly qualified, but it doesn't really.
I don't know if I've said this before, right? But the mantra is marry the house, date the rate, right? I don't know anybody that has ever paid this.
What's that again? What's that again? Back up.
Marry the house and date the rate, right? So if it's your house, if it's a house that you want to live in and you want to be in there forever, marry it, right? But I don't know anybody who's ever bought a house and paid the same interest rate for 30 years. Right? Everybody either refinances or they sell, or they sell and they upgrade or they downgrade or whatever they're going to do, right? So the mentality of I'm going to buy and I'm going to get locked into this interest rate and pay on it for 30 years is completely the wrong mentality. Like, I would love to, I don't know what the national statistics are, but if you just go in your circle of friends and your personal experience, do you know anyone who's paid the same interest rate for 30 years? It just doesn't happen. So that shouldn't be a deterrent, right? It's not a realistic deterrent on how people actually pay a mortgage over the long run.
That's why God made refinancing a service that we all do.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
and,
Right?
and that's why we were talking about now we're going to move into an arms race where people are going to be getting arms instead of the 30-year fixed, because the arms are shorter periods, the interest rate's lower, your monthly mortgage payment would be lower. That's a good way to do it. I don't do 30-year fixed at all because of what Dylan just said. I think the national average is like every 5 years people are refinancing. So why would you? All your mortgages are interest loaded on the front end and principal loaded on the back end. So why pay the higher rate? You can get the 10-year, 7-year arm. As long as that reaches the goals, that's where you got to sit down and do some planning, because there is risk to that, right? But the arms are probably going to be a very half my clients right now are doing arms because of this, because we're trying to get that rate lower, and we know we're not staying in the house for 30 years. We're staying there for 5 to 7. Okay, we do a 10-year arm, etc.
You've married the house and date the rate. I like that analogy. Yeah.
And one more strategy that we're advising sellers to consider right now and buyers to ask for is you can still buy down a rate, right? You can pay a percentage towards your rate and maybe bring it down a point, a half a point, 3/4 a point. You got to work with your lender and see what their options are. But instead of asking for a price concession on a house, a $10,000 price concession on a house, you could ask for, or as a seller, you can offer to buy down the buyer's rate for them, give them a credit to buy down their rate. And if that's really a stumbling block or something that's putting them on the cusp of qualifying for that loan, you can reduce their monthly payment, like Scott was talking about, by $500-600 sometimes, depending on the size of the mortgage. But that's something that, if you're smart strategically and you kind of understand that you're working with a good lender and a good realtor, you can work around that stuff and come up with a solution to overcome that objection of the rate being a big problem.
Would you explain just a little bit? I lost you when you said buy down the rate. You can make a deal. What is that?
Yeah, you can usually pay up front like a point, like a percentage point of what the mortgage would be. So if you're getting a $600,000 mortgage, you can pay like $6,000 up front towards it's a lender cost, right? But they'll reduce your interest rate because you're basically paying for it up front, right? So you buy, it's called buying down the rate. So the published interest rate isn't necessarily like what you have to pay. There's deals you can make and negotiations you can make with your lender to actually pay an upfront cost to get your rate to be lower.
There's deals you can make with the
maybe
lender.
Scott can explain it better than me.
No. Well, no.
Does that make sense?
It's called negotiating. It's called negotiating with the lenders. Like, what do I need to do to buy? Can we? And the technical term is buy down the rate, right? Can I buy down the rate? And they'll say, yeah, pay an extra X thousand up front or whatever. Put a bigger deposit or whatever the lender's going to want to do. There's certain things that you can do with the lender. Jason popped in a quick question. What are the ARM rates nowadays for Hawaii? Your typical Hawaii bank, like a Bank of Hawaii. A typical Hawaii lender. Scott, Dylan, you guys got an idea?
Yeah, so they're actually, because rates have been moving and volatile, everything's been so volatile lately, they've been all over the board, but between about 0.5% and 1% lower. And what's interesting is actually, like, if you look at jumbo loans, which are going to be a portfolio loan or other portfolio loans, they're lower than the conventional rate mortgage interest rate, which is the inverse of what it normally is. So they're, look around. We're actually even talking about, because the conforming loan rate is getting ready to go up. We're actually talking about, we'd rather take a jumbo loan, which is typically more money down, harder to qualify for and whatnot, and get a lower rate than doing the conventional rate right now on some of the investment properties.
So Scott, is there a number that is there a number that you can throw out to Jason for an ARM rate, like an actual kind of a number?
So when I looked this morning, the 30-year fixed was about 6.78 and the ARM was 6.1.
Okay, like you said,
it's tied to whatever the market rate is, right? So it's going to fluctuate as the market rate goes up. It's going to go up, but it's like could be up to a point lower.
And they change 2 to 3 times a day.
So the rule of thumb is up to a point lower, give or take. This one in this case is like 3/4 of a point, right? Or so, right? So basically, Jason, you're looking at a point below, give or take, a point below whatever like a 30-year fixed might be, something to that effect, right? Is that kind of what is that bond right? Okay. All right, good. All right. Okay. So Dylan, I am dying to know, we're all dying to know what is the cause? Yeah. Jason, buddy, you got it, man. We got you covered. Jason is also an alumni of the Islander Ohana. So welcome, Jason. Good to see you guys, and good luck on the finance. You're in good hands. You know that, right? Of course. Dylan, I'm dying to know, man. What's the Dylan? What's the Dylan underlying cause of why we're 30 to 40% down on coffee production?
I think everybody's right. We definitely have some issues. We always have biological issues, right? The borer beetle, the coffee rust, all kinds of stuff like that. But the big driver is workers, and it's not because people don't want to work here. It's primarily because of immigration. And during the COVID years, we couldn't get people from South America and other countries to come here to pick coffee, and so that's what's really caused a shortage in the yield. It's not that there's less coffee on the trees, just there was nobody to take it off the trees and process it. So there was a lot of trees you saw over the last 2 years. The last two coffee seasons, you see a lot of black rotten berries on the trees because the big companies couldn't get people here to actually pick coffee. And a lot of them come from the Philippines, they come from South America. Unfortunately, third generation coffee farmers like me don't pick coffee anymore, right? So we got to get people from other places to come and pick our coffee. So
this is an interesting. Thank you, Dylan. Okay, gang. So the basic answer is yes. There's always biological issues, beetles and junk like that kind of blows up coffee. But this one, because of COVID, we couldn't bring in enough immigrant workers. And I guess, Dylan, please pardon my ignorance here of the worker kind of pattern. But I'm assuming that there's some immigrant workers that are brought here under some kind of sort of illegal temporary work visas.
Yeah, like
they come over,
green cards and work visas. Some of the big companies actually have an immigration department. They have on staff immigration attorneys that help facilitate this, right? Because they know every year they got to bring people in for 3 months, right? So it's complicated, but that's been the way they've solved having a shortage of workers here. Is they just got to bring people in, and when countries were shut down and you couldn't travel, and that was way more restrictive, it really had a secondary impact on bringing those workers in.
That is that's an interesting fact. Well, gang, are you surprised? Does this make sense? Is this something that you thought about or not thought about? I'd love to get all of your feedback on here. Let's move on over here. So, gang, if you got
what's another problem? Just one other kind of tidbit on that is that the amazing thing about coffee prices is at the farmer level. For some reason, inflation doesn't apply. I feel like it took forever. When I was a kid, it was like $1.50 a pound. And then it took forever to get to $2 a pound. This is for red cherry off the tree. And right now, maybe top dollar you can get is $2.50, $2.25 for a pound of coffee, but it's been that way for 10 years, right? So that's something that makes it really hard too from the farmer level is if you're growing the coffee, unless you're taking it all the way to finished product, which is a whole nother huge operation. You got to have drying racks, you got to have roasters, you got to have bagging machines, all this kind of stuff. It's very hard for it to make sense. So a lot of the small farmers, like my family, if you got 1 or 2 acres of coffee, you just let it go. You don't even deal with it anymore because it's not worth your time or effort to be picking coffee for $2 a pound. You might make $3,000 or $4,000 a year off of it. It's a ton of work to prune, to fertilize, to weed control, all that kind of stuff. And so we're really moving towards, like everything else, industrial coffee lands. They're buying up huge pieces of ranch land, thousands of acres, and then planting huge rows that you can be easily mowed and easily picked. So the coffee industry is going through a very big change right now from what it used to be.
Just like the rest of ag. I mean, this is a process of agriculture that's been going on for, actually, if you really think about it, in the broadest sense, if you think about it, this has been going on for at least 100,000 years, if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
It's right. It's a 100,000 year process that is just at the current state, and that 100,000 year process is making agriculture more efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
I learned that in 5th grade. Andre says, "Hey, I guess, Dylan, from what you're saying, it does not harm the plant if the cherries aren't picked. They just go through their natural process. They rot, they fall, they whatever,
Yep.
they become little trees, et cetera, et cetera. They just kind of do
Yep.
natural things."
What's going to be interesting about that is what happens long run to the quality of the coffee, right? So for many years, really up until 10 or 15 years ago, Kona Coffee was a compilation of many small farms, right? Lots, 1 to maybe 10-acre farms, family farms all over the Kona coast. And they would have co-ops. So they would all pick their coffee. They'd go to one central location, and that location would buy it all, and they would do the next level of processing. And so there was some diversity, right? Every farm was different, kind of different areas, different elevations, different care, all those different types of things. And now you're going to have a more uniform product, right? Where you have these massive industrialized farms with thousands of acres where they're getting the exact same amount of fertilizer, exact same process. So it'll be interesting to see, does that change the quality, taste, because it's going to be 2 different products. I mean, yeah, it's the same kind of plant, but anybody who's done agriculture knows, I mean, you could have the same exact tomato plant in 2 different gardens, and 2 different, totally different products could come out of it. So, yeah, we'll see. It'll be another 10 or 20 years till we get that figured out. But the days of the small farms are coming to an end.
I was so Auntie Joyce has got a cool comment here. Chris does coffee harvesting to give gifts to mainland friends. He doesn't even drink it. Well, that's and thanks there, Auntie Joyce, for sharing that, because you inspired me to kind of think about, Dylan. Is there some kind of there's got to be, I'm sure there is, some kind of a tourist kind of industry going on where, like, the way, like, I know, like, for example, I know that even on Oahu around Halloween, people go out and they pick their own pumpkins. They're in the pumpkin patch. I know on the mainland you go and pick your own strawberries. I'm sure they've got to have things on the big one where people kind of walk up into the property and they pick their own berries or something like that, I would think.
Not necessarily picking it, but we do have many like agritourism farms where they've set their small farm up to be more of a tourist attraction, where they'll show you the whole process, right? They'll show you the drying racks, they'll show you the roasters, and then at the end they take you to the gift shop and they sell you their estate coffee from that farm. So that's one way that more entrepreneurial farmers have figured out how to survive, is you can't just rely on picking the coffee. You got to have some value add, some tour revenue, some revenue from your gift shop where you're also selling baked goods and other things like that. So that's definitely a thing for sure. There's a lot of farms that are doing that.
But there's nothing, at least as far as you know, that's the equivalent of, come on our farm, come onto our farm and pick your own coffee berries.
Not really, because I mean it's a long process, right? I mean, like it's a couple of months between when you actually pick the coffee berry and then when you actually drink the coffee, because you gotta dry it, you gotta take off the parchment, you gotta let it sit as green bean before you roast it. I mean, it's a very long, complicated process.
It's not like a strawberry where I could pick the strawberry out, rinse it off, and I could eat it.
No.
Yeah, you're eating it right there in the middle of the field, right? You can't do that with the coffee.
Exactly. But hey, Kelly. So Kelly is a member of an alumni of the Islander Ohana. Kelly, you've got 5 coffee trees. What are you doing with them? Are you letting the berries kind of rot, like Dylan was saying, because they don't have workers, or 5 trees easy? You kind of pick your own and you roast.
So what you definitely can do. My mom had done this for years, right? No matter where my mom lived in little, regular residential neighborhoods, she'd always have a few coffee trees. And you can, if your coffee trees are healthy, you can get 10 pounds a year of cherry from the tree, which after processing, you might get 1 pound, 1.5 pounds of roasted coffee at that point. So you can definitely sustain your own coffee drinking lifestyle in most cases, with a small yard and a few coffee trees. And it's realistic to process coffee on a small level by yourself. It's kind of hard to do it on a large level. So like you can take coffee beans off the tree, put them in an old pillowcase, and then run them over with your car, and that'll pulp all the coffee. Just go back and forth over the pillowcase with your car, and it'll pulp all the coffee. And then you take it out, you can throw it in, in a tub, and then you can separate the pulp from the beans, and then do the soaking in a little tub, and then you can have a little drying rack, and you put all the, so you can do that on like maybe for 5 pounds of coffee, right? But to do it for 50, now you got to have a much bigger operation, right? To do it for 100 pounds, you got to have a bigger operation. So. Yeah,
man, that sounds like a coffee growing boy who grew up in a coffee growing family. That's what that sounds like to me, man. We got the folks. You all got the real deal right there from a kid who grew up. I heard the kid growing up there with mom mowing back and forth over the pillow with the car. That's hilarious. I love that. I love that.
And then you can just roast it in your oven in your house, and your house smells like coffee for 2 days. Right, so you don't actually have to have a coffee roaster. You just put them, once it's totally dry, you just put them on a baking sheet, and you can roast coffee in your oven.
You know, Tracy's like, we need a whole show on how to do this for coffee lovers. You're not yet. I'm telling you, man, this has got to be the coffee. We may start the Aloha Friday coffee edition, man, because I'm a coffee nut, a coffee nut, so to speak. No pun intended. Thanks, Tracy. Jason says I go through a pound of coffee on a Monday. There you go. Excellent. So Kelly says she's still learning the process, but I'm more of a tea person. Kelly, the only solution is to grow a tea tree, whatever that would be. Grow some tea plants or whatever. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to Aloha Ina Riley. Welcome back. Good to see you. Welcome. I'm really glad that you're with us. I'm glad you had a chance to kind of to jump on. It's amazing. Right, Judy? Too bad Heidi is missing all the coffee chat. This is sucking. I feel bad about this, but it is what it is. Heidi, you are missed. You are missed. Okay, Bob, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Not a coffee drink, but this side discussion is sometimes we go like off the rails, man. We go off the rails, but they're good rails. Bob, I appreciate you sharing, because last thing I want to do is have everyone bored sick and then have to leave. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Bob, for that. Next slide, please. All right. Hey, gang. So look, if you're get this slide over here. Look, if you got here, this is better. Okay, look, hey, if you got here through the newsletter that goes out every Wednesday, you clicked on the link and you popped in, God bless, you're here. However, if you didn't get here through the newsletter, if you don't get the newsletter every Wednesday, make sure to go to livinginhawaii.com, click on, there'll be a pop-up, there'll be places you could put in your email address, get on the newsletter, you'll get the invites, etc. Want to give a quick thing. The next show is going to be, we're going to skip a show. I'm going to be off island on that week, so I won't be here to kind of broadcast. And the next show is going to be on October 28th. So the normally scheduled show for the 14th, not going to be here, and that's also to you, Dylan and Scott and Heidi. Not going to be here. We'll be around on the other one. So we'll see you guys then. Okay, so. Here's the thing. With that all being said, I wanted to kind of share with you all our big question, and this one came from Tracy. So thanks, Tracy. This is because of you. Really, I get all kinds of questions every so often. We get like a really, really good one, and this is a really, really good one. So I wanted to kind of bring this up for our big question, the topic to kind of chat with. And again, I'm really bummed that Heidi's not here, because I love Heidi's the way she contributes, the way all of you can contribute. So the more the merrier. But anyway, so here's what Tracy says. What can tourists do to reassure the native local Hawaiians that are aware that we come with respect for the land, the people, and the culture? So I thought this was great. Thank you, Tracy, for submitting that question. So I thought what was interesting about this, right, was that Dylan and Scott, we've always talked about a bunch of times about, the way to get along in Hawaii is to respect the culture, embrace the culture, not impose sort of your ways on the local ways. We've all said that, and that's been a consistent message. So Tracy's question is a good one, because like, okay, great. What does that mean? Tell me what to do? What do I do to sort of show this respect, that we come with respect for the land, people, and the topic? Yeah. See, Jen, great topic, right? It's a great topic. Now I must say, because Judy says this, if you're not in the Islander Ohana, get in on it. And we are going to be starting up our next cohort. We do talk about this in depth on the Islander Ohana. But for those that haven't joined our cohort yet, what do you do? Why don't we do, let's do Scott first. Scott, and then Dylan. So Scott, what do you say when Tracy says, what do I do? What do you do, Scott, to demonstrate this respect? You're muted. Unmute your mic first. That's the first thing you do. You unmute the mic.
Well, the first thing that someone does is they take their shoes off at my front door when they come over. Part of it is learning the cultures and doing the studying to understand what some of those cultural aspects are, such as taking your shoes off at somebody's front door when you come over. That's part of it. To me, the other component is just having self-awareness. A lot of times I feel like, people have blinders on what they're doing, and they aren't really self-aware of their impact on others. We are in a small small island. We're, if you look at a map, we're a speck on that map out in the middle of the Pacific, so we are in tighter quarters here, and the vibe is more laid back. So when you do come to visit, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of how others are acting. But one in particular is if you go to visit someone at their house, you take something with you, some kind of gift, food, drink, etc. That's a big one. To me, it's studying, trying to learn what some of those cultural aspects are and being very respectful of them and being self-aware. There's nothing worse than, a self-absorbed person. A lot of that to me comes with common sense, but someone told me the other day, common sense is something that's not necessarily common anymore. So.
Well, and not just that, but self-awareness, self-awareness. If someone lacks self-awareness, they're by definition not self-aware. So by telling someone you should be self-aware who's not self-aware, they're not going to get it. It's like, what the hell's your problem? Okay. So some simple, straightforward takeaways, right? Take your shoes off before you go into someone's house. That's simple, really straight sort of stuff. And then the other one is when you go to someone's house, bring something. Judy had a great story that she shared with us about doing that, and it was a very touching one. So Judy, I'm thinking about you now. Just what Scott's saying, your story. Okay, easy. We'll come back and if you have some more that pop in your head, because Scott, what's interesting about it, right? When you've lived here for the majority part of your life, it's like the air that you breathe. You take it for granted. You don't think that, oh yeah, slow down the car and let people go in front of you when they got their signal on, as opposed to speeding up and closing the gap so that they don't go in, right? But you take this for granted. Dylan, what do you tell people to how do you show? What do you say?
Scott's completely right. I mean, it's all about self-awareness, and if you're aware of it, if you've been asking the question, you're on the right track, in my opinion. And something to consider to show it, right, is to ask. I think that's a very important thing that sometimes people don't do, is just having the humility to maybe ask in a situation if you're not sure what the right thing to do is. And 99% of people, will gladly share with you what the right thing to do is, right? Or when you go to a beach, if you see a local or you see a lifeguard, hey, just ask, should I go over here? Is it okay to go on those rocks? What are some protocols that I should be aware of? I think about this is my personal example is I love jiu-jitsu, right? And I do that regularly here. But whenever I travel, I try and go and drop in and train at a different gym so I can learn from other people and get that experience of, folks that are outside of my circle. But the first thing I always do when I get there is I either ask the professor or the guy that's in charge, ask them, hey, is there any specific protocols that I should be aware of? Because I want to be respectful of their culture, right? Their gym, the way they do stuff, the way, whatever it is. And some places they want you to actually, take alcohol and wipe your feet down before you go on the mat. Other places there's a certain bowing protocol, whatever it is. But unless you ask and you have the humility to want to gain that information, people aren't going to offer it up. They're going to tell you once you're wrong, right? Once you've done the wrong thing. So I think that helps, having that self-awareness and just being open to asking and being humble about it is definitely the first step, because there's no way somebody can write a book and tell you everything you need to know. It's going to be different from family to family, area to area. There's subcultures within the culture. One of the cool things, and maybe you can Google this and throw it up on the screen, is the local Ironman athletes put out this one-page thing called the Pono Pledge, and Pono means righteousness, like the right thing to do, right? That's what Pono means in Hawaiian. And they put this out and shared it with all of the visiting triathletes, just to give them a bullet-pointed list of the way that they should conduct themselves, things to be aware of, ways to be respectful. And I thought, I haven't seen that before. I thought that was a really cool idea that the local, triathletes tried to do to help prepare and just make the impact in the community a little bit easier, right? Because there's so many people that complain about when Ironman comes here. So that's, stuff like that, being aware of that and taking it to heart is definitely the first place to start.
The Pono Pledge. I did a quick check.
It's online. Like the Pono Pledge. I'm sure it's somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it, because I did a quick check for that, but I'm gonna look around. Well, my only complaint about the triathlon is the Speedos. Other than that, I think it's perfectly fine. I think the Speedos are just trying to I kid. Hey, no, I think, look, one thing I want to ask. Look, there's a bunch of you right now that are alumni of the Islander Ohana. Can you share and throw it in the comments so I can throw it. Can you share with Tracy some stuff that you've picked up that's meaningful to you? Like, for example, Judy gave a great one. This goes into, this is the self-aware. This is the self-aware category. Listen to people. You don't need to talk about yourself. Yeah. So that's like a big thing about local culture is you don't talk about the only way that, right, Dylan, the only way you talk about yourself is in a self-deprecating mode. That's the only acceptable way to talk about yourself. You can't say, I did this and I did that. No, you say, I screwed up. Yeah, not so hot. Yeah, I'm the last man, I'm the low man on the totem pole. That's the thing. And so that's a big deal. So thank you.
A really good one related to that, right, is a local saying is don't grumble. Right? Grumble is like complain, right? And I noticed when I traveled other places, there's like cities that like the culture is you bitch about everything, right? You bitch about the traffic and this and that and this and that. And like here, it seems like that's like really frowned upon. Like you don't go to somebody's house and then complain about something, right? Stay positive, talk about the good things. And that's normally how discussions happen at a party or at a gathering, right? Is we just have a more positive culture and outlook on life. And I think that's one mindset thing is nobody wants to hear you grumble. So
no grumble. There's even like it got a political twist to it where no vote, no grumble. That was another thing, right? That went around. There was a bumper sticker a little bit far away. One of them is from TB, volunteering and joining local service group, participating in local projects. Good way to assimilate to the island. Huge, big thing. Find your passion and volunteer for it. No question. Now, Kinaya, thank you, Kinaya. I so appreciate you putting your comment in because it's currently my favorite comment. My favorite thing to do. Here we go. That's the one. Learn to pronounce some things correctly. Okay. So this is like, I've been into this because I just added a course on the Islander Ohana on how to correctly pronounce Hawaiian words, not how to speak Hawaiian. That's like really hard, but at least to correctly pronounce Hawaiian words. To me, that is Tracy, if you want to because Tracy also mentioned that she lived on Maui about 22 years ago, and she's visited maybe 15 times since then. It's been a burning question for me. Learn how to pronounce Hawaiian words correctly, because there is nothing is more obvious that you've not taken the way than for you to like butcher Hawaiian words. If you butcher Hawaiian words, that says you are haole in the truest sense of the word. Haole meaning foreigner. You are a foreigner. You have not pronounced and this is a kind of a universal cultural thing, no matter where you go, right? If you go to France and you try at least to pronounce the French words correctly, the French will like it. But if you kind of Americanize and butcher French words, they're not going to be happy. So thank you, Kinaya, for bringing that up. That is huge. Jen, give back, visit for 3 weeks. Yep, that's it. Feed the homeless, clean up, etc. That's what you do. Auntie Joyce complained about the Ironman crowds in traffic. Left California. Not a fan of Speedos either. But remember, Joyce, no grumble, right? We no grumble, except for the Speedos. We can do it for the Speedos. Tracy, staying humble, giving back. Yep. Just on the bank for the first time, felt deep aloha spirit, so moved and humbled by it. Yeah, that's basic. And humbled is a really great local word, right? Humble, humility. I'm humbled. Having a true sense of humbleness. Although I have to riff on this for just a moment, I'm going to riff now. So start the riff period. What I love on social media is when someone said, I'm humbled by this award I was given. That really means I'm really proud of it. That means I'm really proud. Or when someone says, I'm honored, I'm so honored and so humbled, that means I'm super proud of myself, but I can't say I'm proud. That's my thing about social media. So whenever you see someone say on social media, I'm humbled, that means I'm proud. I just can't say it. If you really want to give pride, you give it to someone else. You could give it to someone else, but not if it's you, you're just bragging. Aloha spirit and show respect for people and traditions. Yeah. So Auntie Joyce, the question is, yes, we know that. How do you show respect? How do you show the traditions, right? How do you do that? That's the question. Lace Dillon, stay, love Dylan sign, stay humble, stay hungry. Yes. And Judy, be grumble, no grumble. Yeah. Be humble, no grumble. That's it. That's it. Judy, did you come up with that? That's like a damn good bumper sticker. Be humble, no grumble. I like that. Bumper sticker, Judy. Bumper sticker. Bumper sticker. The hungry part could always mean learning and growing. Yeah, exactly. It's what it always means. So excellent. When that's not what it always means. That's certainly what it can mean. So Tracy, hope you got some good stuff out of that. Okay, Judy, copyright that quick. Copyright that. That's like, man, that just kind of, Judy, be humble, no grumble, no grumble, be humble. That, man, make that a t-shirt, Judy. Make that a t-shirt, make that a bumper sticker, copyright that, be humble, no grumble, right? Right, exactly. She who laughs, right? Exactly. The reminder to learn the language really, okay, I want to make it this, yes, it is. The reminder to learn the language is really important. And it's not the language per se, because really there's a small group of Native Hawaiians that speak the language natively. That's an extremely tiny percentage. You really, no one, I should say no one, but really the grand overwhelming majority of, Dylan, you were born and raised here. How much do you actually speak Hawaiian term, like a sentence?
Zero. I mean, I know,
Okay.
I know 50 Hawaiian words that, so when somebody said, I could decipher what's going on, but it's mainly the stuff, it's the pidgin stuff, right? That you always use, pow, stuff like that people
right
commonly use. Yeah.
But Garen's,
but I can't put a sentence together. I can't put a sentence together.
Yeah, exactly. I can't, really quote, no one does effectively. Yes, there is a group that do speak the Native Hawaiian language, and God bless them for it. And there's schools that are Hawaiian immersion. There's a movement. It's growing for sure. But the overwhelming majority of the culture, no one speaks, and no one will start a conversation with you in Hawaiian. Go ahead, Dylan.
Here's just a little anecdotal example of this. My son the other day tells me that he's really not liking one of his classes and his teacher, and I'm like, why? And he says, because he refuses to pronounce Kalakahe properly, like the other high school, right? And I guess this guy went into some rant about how he's been here for like 30 years, but he just doesn't want to pronounce it properly. And it's just, my son finds that very disrespectful, right? Like, it's like there's no reason other than your personal opinion to not want to learn how to say the other high school's name properly. And so it's regardless of his ability to teach or his knowledge of the subject or the classroom environment, like his attitude is what's, turning my son off and changing his educational experience, right? So just something as small as that, where just a bad attitude, it's very interesting.
Look, it's not small. It's not small at all. It's huge, right? Because what that teacher is basically saying is, the hell with you.
Yeah.
Right? That's what the teacher's basically saying. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, and there's nothing that says you're either a tourist or an FOB fresh off the boat than when I hear someone say Iwa Beach instead of Eva Beach. And the reality is it's fine in the beginning, but if you move down there and you say it the same way for 5 years, then that's your lack of willingness to conform and learn. And that's where people will start to have an issue, and that's a lack of humbleness at that point.
Exactly. So yes, Tracy, the pronunciation, that is hugely important. Look, and it's kind of funny because, and it's such a giveaway, right? Because I just had a conversation the other day with someone who's lived here, more than 40 years, right? Been here for more than 40 years. And we're talking about this and that and the other thing. And he says, yeah, I went to Ala Moana Beach Park. I'm like, dude, it's not freaking Ala Moana. It's Ala Moana, you freaking howly. It's Ala Moana. How could you be here for all these decades and still say Ala Moana? It's like, dude, that's so wrong. It's Ala Moana, damn it. Anyway, so it was just kind of funny because it was a dead giveaway. The point is, it was a dead giveaway. It's a dead giveaway that this person has not sort of really embraced it. So that's that. Your son is, she who laughs says your son is right. The attitude and disrespecting the other school. Absolutely. More caught than taught. Okay. More is caught than taught. There you go. I think there's another, that may be the other side of maybe you and Judy need to get together and kind of start collaborating on like t-shirts, like the front says no humble, big grumble. And the other side, more is caught than taught. That I love that. That is great. But, yeah, so pronunciations are important, and there's a bunch of pronunciations that we kind of take for granted, like Kalakaua, right? Everyone says Kalakaua, or everyone says Waikiki. Well, technically speaking, that's not correct. It's Kalakaua, right? It's Kalakaua. It's not Kalakaua. It's Kalakaua. But no one says Kalakaua. No one says that. But that is technically. But if somebody went to you and said, "Hey, I just was walking down Kalakaua," it's like, oh man, that person, they got it. They got it right. So Anyway, all right. Anything else anybody wants to share? Let's see. I think I got everyone's comments on this, on anything. If you got more stuff that you want to share, gang, throw it on there. I'd love to kind of help out Tracy and all of us, frankly, because we need to kind of the more that we could. We all kind of want to, we all want to kind of want to be a part of what's going on over here. What we want to do with Hawaii is important. Oh my God, it's 5 minutes to go. Holy crap. I didn't realize the conversation with that fast. All right, so we're gonna have to go quick. Let's get the diamonds and deals really fast. Okay, Scott, Waialae Ridge, New England. Wow, this is beautiful. You're muted.
I forgot to do that. Yeah,
it happens to me all the time.
No, I love this home. So I previewed one that was just up the street, very similar floor plan not too long ago, but I love this ridge and I thought this property kind of really embraced kind of what the ridge perspective is, in the sense that view right there, you're looking out down. That's actually going to be Waialae Ridge is the next one over that you can see. You're looking down into one valley, and then you can see Cocoa Head sticking out at the point and Port Lock and whatnot. And that's a kind of the essence of some of these ridge properties. You just get these beautiful views and they're really quiet. This home happens to be just up the hill of the rec center for Waialae Ridge. So it's like 4 doors up. So if you wanted, you could walk down to the rec center, which is a part of your association dues, and go swim laps and get in the pool. And there's a meeting room and whatnot there. But the great home, it's 2,600 square feet, 5 bedroom, 4 baths. There is, and 1 bedroom, 1 bath is kind of like this downstairs little studio side unit, but a great property. 2.45 million. I love what they did. They've renovated. You got the wood, the high ceilings with the wood beams. Love it. It's a nice home.
Yeah, I was gonna say that wood, that natural kind of wood stain on the ceiling looks fantastic with the ocean. It just blends beautifully.
And I sold one up here. So when you get up there, it's about 10 degrees cooler too. So if you don't like the heat and whatnot of some of the lower areas, this is a great one. I sold one a couple of years ago that actually had a functioning fireplace. They never used it, but it never got that cold really. But you are about 10 degrees cooler, and it's super quiet when you get up on those ridges. All you hear is the birds, but yet you can look down on parts from that ridge where you're looking down on the Diamond Head, Honolulu side, so you get the city lights.
It's a stunning view, man, and I would say built for electric cars, because when you're going downhill, you're going to get like a full charge on the Tesla with that regenerative braking. Excellent. No, great property, Scott. Thanks, Dylan. What do we got today?
Yeah, I'll just keep it quick. I picked a piece of land that's on the market over here in Kona. And if I put the map on here so you can get some idea. The bottom part of the map is Napopo and Kalakikua Bay. The top part is Kailua Town. So it's right kind of in the middle. It's old ranch land, but 23 acres for 1.5 million with sweeping ocean views. Just a really cool piece of property right off the Ali'i bypass. So really good location, easy to get to. Just if you wanted to build an estate or something like that, might have to be off the grid. Utilities might be iffy there. But yeah, I just thought what a huge opportunity for a beautiful piece of property.
23 acres and up high like that with the incredible ocean view. Now, is there just kind of the first thing, for some reason, I don't know why this popped in my head when I first saw this, when I was looking at the slides earlier, is there some sort of can you access the property? Is there, you have to kind of you have to kind of pave a road, but do you have access to the highway from the canyon?
Oh yeah, so the Ali'i bypass is the top boundary of it. So you have easy access right from the highway. I mean, you'd have to, there's some old ranch roads and stuff on it. I mean, you'd have to build some infrastructure, but very easy access. It's not like you have to go off-roading to get to it or anything like that. It's right off the highway.
And your property is not blocked by another property, which means you can't get to it or whatever. You can get access from it.
Yep.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Hey, thanks guys for a quick one. Sorry again, we just got wrapped up. This is the first time. Normally, I'm kind of like very retentive about my time on the show, so we're going to move on quickly over here. So sorry, gang, we're running a little bit late, but bear with us if you wish. That see you on 10/28 is what that says. See you on 10/28. We've got some closing thoughts I want to share. And look, it's a quick. We're going to wrap this up quickly, but I do want this is the closing motivational thoughts part of the show. I do want you all to give your input as well on closing motivational thoughts. If you come across anything that you come across that you like, that you want to share, please pop it in. This is a great segment that people have really enjoyed. Dylan, what you got and why do you like it?
So this made me think of the crew and the ohana on this show, but definitely related to, I think, our discussion today. But if you look at the people in your circle and you don't get inspired, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. So super important to be aware of who you spend your time with and who's around you, because it's going to change your life dramatically.
Oh man, Dylan, what you did, gang, you all want to stay for this one. I guarantee you want to stay to hear the quote I've got, because we did not plan this out. We did not plan this out. So you just all kind of stay tuned. Cliffhanger for this show. Watch. Heidi is not here. Unfortunately, we love you and miss you. Heidi, Scott.
I don't think it updated.
This is the non-updated version. Oh man. Okay. We're gonna do this really quick. We're gonna do this really, really quick because we got to have Scott's comment on it. I you know what? I don't think. Oh, here we go. No, I don't. Scott, give us the quote anyway. We don't need this. We don't need the damn slide. Give us the quote.
I don't even remember what it was at this point.
Okay. That's all right. Hey, we'll catch you next time. So let me kind of share. So don't worry about Scott. If something pops in your head, throw it out. All right. Don't worry about it. We're always here. Okay, gang. So here's mine. Proverbs 13:10. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. Think about what that quote is, gang. It's a biblical version of what Dylan just said, right? So Dylan's was, if you look at the people in your circle and don't get inspired. So Dylan's quote is, hey, the people that are in your life make a difference. If you're not inspired, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. And what does Proverbs say? Proverbs says, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. Don't be a companion to fools. Walk with the wise. Walk with the wise, you become wise. Walk with fools, you'll suffer harm. Dylan says, look at the people in your circle and if you don't get inspired, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. It's the same damn thing. It's the same damn thing. So I love that. That is divine. That is truly, truly, truly divine inspiration. Auntie Joyce, love you all. We will see you soon, and hopefully back on Carpe Diem. Can't miss that. Hope I pronounced that right. Did I pronounce that right? That's the holiday pronunciation. I don't know. Carpe Diem. La Cage Fall. Did I pronounce that correctly? Sometimes goes with you. There you go. So, all right, gang. I think that's it. Let's say goodbye. Let's do Dylan and then Scott. Say goodbye.
Hey, have a good weekend, everybody. Good to be back. Good to see you guys.
Aloha, everybody.
Aloha, folks. Glad you're all with us, and glad we made you laugh, Judy. Love you all. See you all on the 28th. That's in 4 weeks. See you all then. Aloha.